And
action.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Better Together podcast. Good news, bad news. The good news is you don't have to listen to Corey for the intro or at all in the entire episode. That's the good news. God, I've wanted to say that for so long. Just kidding. Bad news is you're stuck with Cassidy and I for the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Bad for you. Bad luck for you guys.
Yeah, but good morning, Cassidy O'Sullivan.
Good morning, MJ Reevely.
Coming to us live from the beautiful state of Montana.
Yes, sir.
Looking dapper today.
Why, thank you.
For those of you that are on the Spotify and or Apple apps, Cassie's looking very long-haired and bushy-tailed today.
That time.
We have what we believe is a very real topic today, fun topic, something that we've all experienced and go through daily. I know I do, certain CPO does, and as you guys, but we're gonna talk about fear today. Full disclosure, Cassidy, Patrick O'Sullivan, and Mark James Reevely are not experts in the subject matter of fear, but we are human beings and we've experienced it, we've felt it, we've gone through it. We've had successes with fear, we've had failures with fear, but we want to share our 2 cents with how to overcome fears, and that's going to be the topic. So the way it works is 3 thoughts, 2 myths, 1 question ask yourself, and then an actionable go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Between the both of us, I'm sure 3 thoughts will come out. So we'll start there with overcoming fears, and fear as a topic in general. What do you think, Cass? How do we open this bad boy up?
I agree. So fear is a topic, like you said, that everybody deals with, and it can be something very, very simple. Like, I don't like, going into a dark room, or, wow, I've got to go and talk in front of 10 people that I've never met before. Or it could be something that's physical. It could be, wow, walking down a trail and you see a bear. That's fear, right? So there's all kinds of different fear, and the way people handle it is so many different ways. People sometimes will shy away from it, so they don't put themselves in that situation, so where they don't have to deal with it at all. And then you have other people that are always out there kind of seeking that challenge and somehow thrive on that fear, that nervousness, that anticipation that comes. And that's something that gets their blood going. So you have people on both extremes, and so again, it's one of those things that I feel we deal with on a daily basis, I'm sure when your life changed, when your former company decided to pack up shop, and all of a sudden they said, "Hey, MJ, you're without a gig." Mm-hmm. And then you said, "Okay, well, man, I'm going to go all in and I'm going to bet on myself and do this." I'm sure you weren't like just, "Oh, this is going to be easy." I'm totally 100% confident I'm going to be able to do this. You probably had some fear inside that said, "Wow, this is a life-changing experiment that I'm going to go through, and who knows if it's going to work or not." And but obviously, looking back now, it's probably one of the best decisions you've ever made in your life. But I'm sure there was fear there in the beginning.
Sure. I think fear, danger, afraid, these terms are all synonymous. Like they live in the same space, but they're different. So my big thought on fear, and again, this is just my take on it. Like, this is just my thought. Who knows if it's right or wrong, but this is my thought on it, is that I feel that most fear is a choice. And that's a strong positional statement.
Sure.
Through some of the podcasts and reading that I've done with fear, is that the only 2 fears that we're born with from the very beginning are the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Those are the only 2 fears that human beings are born with, and every other fear after that is cognitive in
learned.
nature. It's
Yeah.
learned. It's a cognitive type behavior, right? Additionally, just to support my positional statement that I think fear is more of a choice than anything, is that upwards of 85 to 90% of all fears never come to fruition.
Right.
Right. So what's that mean? They're paper tigers. You've heard this term paper tiger, right? Where it's outwardly this thing that it's going to get you, but inwardly it just crumbles, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, but at the same time, it's real. It's not that fear's fake. It's a real emotion. So like being afraid is the feeling of fear, right? So
Right.
that's the feelings I have associated with fear. And on the other end of it, the other end of the spectrum, and I said there's more synonymous than not, is you have danger. That's like death, right? That's
Right.
something that is
a possibility that can truly happen.
Right. And it's real. So you know, first of all, I think most fear, okay, is a choice. And that's why. So
Sure.
if we can understand that, I think we can understand, without fast forwarding all the way to the end of this thing, is like what to do when I get it.
Right.
And
Right.
how to process it.
Yeah. And like I said, you know, earlier, like that to some people is their jam, right? They want to have that fear. They, you know, they get off on it, and that's what makes them enjoy and push. You know, I mean, the first person to do a, you know, I don't know, a half pipe on a skateboard, they weren't going in there going, oh, this is easy. I have no fear. I mean, they were probably pretty scared, but now they keep going, right? And they did it again, and it becomes easier, and that fear goes away to where they can actually go a little bit further or a little bit higher or a little bit faster. And that, again, they push that because that fear turns into adrenaline for some. Others, it does the exact opposite. They want to crumble up in a corner and not be seen. Just don't look at me. And so, you know, it's tough, you know, because it can be crippling to some, but then it can also be a huge motivating factor for some.
And my thing though, Cass, on that point, because you've done this 2 times, is my thought on it. I'm agreeing with you, but I would say, and this goes back to my thought of fear being a choice. If I agree with what you're saying, which I do, people go one of 2 ways with it. The question is why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. Like why does one person crumble up and why does one person? And that's where I can say positionally, I think it's a choice.
Yeah, it
because
is.
Going to let's just jump into our first of 2 myths here.
Yeah, let's do it.
That successful people aren't fearful.
Yeah.
Or successful people don't experience being afraid, which are feelings of fear, etc. And when we say successful people, we're talking about people that are successful in the gym. They were afraid when they walked in the gym. They were intimidated when they walked in the gym. They tried it before. It didn't work. Why would they do it again? There's fear of failure. There's fear of judgment. There's all these fears. I would suggest that the successful people in the gym space felt those things too. They just made a different choice, or like in business or relationally or finance. There's fear all over the place. So the myth is successful people just aren't fearful. They're just people that are born with a lack of fear, and they're fearless.
Right.
And they just go do.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I remember the first day I walked into, you know, Studio Fit then, you know, I was fearful. I was excited, but, you know, walking in that day, and then actually, I think doing my first baseline workout, I was fearful because I knew I could maybe do 2 pull-ups at the time, you know, and I was fearful of judgment. I really was. I was fearful that I'm going to get on this bar, I'm going to do a pull-up, and then I'm going to drop down and try to do another one. I'm not going to be able to make it. So I had fear there. But again, it is that decision, right? It's that choice of going, you know what? I want to make myself better. I want to get to the level where I can, you know, I'm over here watching so-and-so do 10 unbroken pull-ups. I'm like, holy cow, he just did 10 in a row. I want to do that, you know? So you put that fear aside, put yourself out there. And, you know, again, if you, goes kind of back to your VOPA as well, is that if you have a vision of something that you want to get to, sometimes you've got to put that fear aside to make that happen. And so, I mean, that all falls in line with that as well.
Yeah, you have no choice, because what's the alternative?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And so like with VOPA, which very quickly you have some certain objectives, which are so goals you want to accomplish in life. You have a vision for why it's important to you. And then you have this process, which is how you're going to do it and accountability to do it. So in your thought, it's like, hey, if I don't have in my life, if I don't have a why to do this thing that's greater than my why not, when fear presents itself, where the fuck you think I'm going to go?
See ya.
I'm crumbling, man. I'm going the path of least resistance. I'm saying thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
The point is that was a choice.
Yeah.
And so like you were fearful when you walked in, but you made a choice. Okay. In that moment of fear, anxiety, whatever it was, uncertainty, because you got to have those two things with fear. You got to have anxiety and you got to have uncertainty. Those two things, one plus the other equals fear. You can be anxious and not uncertain. You can be uncertain and not anxious.
Right.
Think of Christmas morning, right? Or Christmas
right.
Eve. You're right. Like you may be uncertain, but you don't have anxiety over it, and vice versa. So with fear, you experience those things. You had uncertainty, you had anxiety, you had them both to a certain degree, but you made a choice. Right. And somewhere 100%. Along the line, your why for making that choice was greater than your why not. And I guess a major point to be taking from this, hopefully, to everybody that's listening, is we get that fear is real. Number one.
Yeah.
Yep, it's real. Number two, what do you do with it when you have it? And I think we should tie into our second myth at this juncture of conversation, which is that fear is unhealthy, that all fear is unhealthy. Like I would argue that the fear that you had was a healthy fear.
Sure, I agree, because it gave me a point of feeling that, you know, once I overcome this, holy cow, how great was that feeling? You know what I mean? And then again, you know, there's two different types of fear, right? There's a fear of falling off a cliff. You know, again, that's a real fear, and that's
called a bad fear, right? That's
a bad fear. Yes,
potential death, danger, and really, that's what we're doing here. Bad fear, good fear. Bad fear, like you said, falling off a cliff, potential danger, like I'm gonna die.
Yes,
all bad.
Yeah, somebody has a gun. You know, you have that fear, and that's good. And also that could be a healthy fear, because you can then choose to act. You know, and how do you act? So I think, you know, that, you know, fear is something you need to learn from yourself, learn to deal with yourself, right? Because everybody handles it differently. And, you know, again, it's your why. If you don't have a strong why of why you want to overcome that fear, then you're probably not going to really focus on it and do it and take the time. Yeah, you just walk out, you know, and so, yeah, I mean, I agree that, you know, not all fear is bad. There's a lot of good fear out there.
Right. And we've talked about, so on this good fear, right? And I think that's how we'll categorize it. Again, we don't have PhDs in psychology. All right.
Human nature.
We understand what oxytocin is, and we know it's present with both love and fear, but like that's as far as we're going. But what I can say in my experience with fear is that, you know, at a ground floor, there's good and bad. And we outline that, what bad is and what good is. And to further down the road of good fear, that ties into the personal growth, the personal development, and understanding that as human beings, we don't grow without healthy fear in our lives.
Yeah.
Because healthy fear makes us uncomfortable. And any growth that we've ever had is in a state of uncomfortability. Okay.
Totally.
If you want to go run a marathon, a 5K, walk a 5K, whatever, you have to get uncomfortable and you put your lungs under stress. That's uncomfortable, right? So that, but that's where the growth and the stimulus happens. No different than breaking down your muscles. No different than, putting yourself into a position to get a new job through an interview. There may be feelings of fear. You may be afraid of that, but that uncomfortability on the other side of that interview is a possible job and a way to make a living and to provide. So healthy fear is, in my opinion, a gateway or conduit to success. Without
you
it,
have to have it.
You cannot grow, because if you continue to do what you've always got and you live in homeostasis, you'll continue to get what you've always gotten.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. 100%. Yeah.
So I think with debunking of the all fear is unhealthy, we've established that set point. So then the most natural thing for us to do on this call to make it actionable is to ask ourselves a question, which is, what am I fearful of? So everybody at home, ask yourself, what are you fearful of right now? Like, what's the thing in your life that you're fucking scared to death of? Okay. And I promise you, it's going to be in one of the following roles. It's going to be in the role on a humanistic, personal level of in the home. Okay. It's going to be in the home, relationally with family, with spouse, with mother, father, or husband, wife, or kid, right? It's going to be in that space. There's going to be a fear there. I promise. There's going to be a fear financially.
Right.
Okay? You're going to have a fear in that space of providing and bills, and where do I save? Where do I give? Where do I earn?
Do I invest? Yeah.
Right. There's going to be fears with your fitness and your personal, your physical, with respect to how you look, how you feel, what you should or shouldn't do in that space. And then dealing with yourself on some emotional and spiritual levels as well. It fits in these roles and pockets. So I think the first question we should all ask ourselves is, what are we fearful of, and identify that and just put it on the fucking table.
Yeah.
Right.
Put it up there. Right.
It is what it is. Like whether it's one of those danger, real fears. Okay. Or it's
I'm afraid of spiders,
okay, or a choice fear, put it on the table.
Yeah.
And then the go is, how do you overcome it?
Right. What tools do you have to overcome those?
Right. What are you going to do? What now? Okay.
Yeah. Bringing it back to the gym again, is that, the way I got over a lot of the fears of everything at the gym, to be honest with you, was being a part of the community. I know it sounds really cliche and easy. For some people, it's not, right? For some people, it's not easy to walk up to a coach and say, hey coach, man, I'd really like to do a muscle up, how do I do it? And the fear of failure, and not being able to perform that, that's real, that's true. But it's healthy, to be able to walk up to a coach and ask them for help. Or, very simply in the gym, the only way I learned how to do double unders was me and Gilbert just every day after class would just sit there and try doing double unders. It went from, we would get 5, he would get 10, and I would get 15, and pretty soon we had it down. But again, that fear of going to somebody and saying, hey buddy, I don't know how to do this, do you mind helping me work on this? I see that you can do them, can we do it together? Can you show me? And seriously, the community is what, in a gym sense of fear, is, I think, all powerful. It's a solution to a ton of the fear that people have out there.
And as we jump from the question, which is, what are you fearful of, to the action item, or the go of how do you overcome it, we need to have context.
Yeah.
And so for me, I can say that most of the fears that I've had in my life, okay, have been overcome with one particular type of medicine in general. Okay. And this quote is, I stole from John Wooden years ago.
Nice.
And it says, courage has no greater ally than preparation, fear no greater enemy.
Yep.
Again,
love it.
Courage has no greater ally than preparation, fear no greater enemy. Hold on one sec. My freaking robot is going crazy. Hold on one sec. My cleaning robot. not
Good old
prepared.
Rumba. You weren't.
Roomba was going
Roomba.
crazy. I was like, of course it's going to go off right in the middle of the podcast.
Of course.
But back to this thought, it's super prophetic and it has so much wisdom. And I think anybody on this call that is fearful in something, and it does require context because different medicine for different places, but for most things that I've struggled with on a fearful level, everything from sports to business, financially, professionally, personally, this is really a catch-all. This is really a catch-all solution. At least it has been for me. And if it's worked for me, I'm sure it can work for others. And that's the ability to overcome the fear through preparedness, because the preparedness equals courage. And what happens, kind of going back to the why analogy of like you have a goal and a why, or a why or a why not. Like here's why not. When the why supersedes the why not, it wins. But if the why not supersedes, it overcomes the why. Well, courage and fear are the same things.
Right.
See, like the solution to fear is courage. Well, how do you get courage? You do it through preparedness. You do it through repetition. You do it through working on it. And then when the scales tip in the favor of courage, the fear just kind of fucking goes away.
It does. Right? It really does.
So like in sports, I was scared to death, right? To go to state championships and win state titles, right? How do you overcome that fear? Prepare, reps, do it. Lean into that uncomfortability, do 100%. Something actionable, and prepare yourself for the show. Public speaking, number one fear of humans. But we sit here as humans and go, I got a talk I got to give. Or I got to speak to you. And we sit there and we fucking go like this.
We internalize it all.
Instead of putting the fear on the table, like we said, put it on the table and then ask yourself, how are you going to prevent yourself from being afraid of this? Well,
talking to yourself in the mirror. Yeah, exactly.
Practice it. Repetition. Practice. Notes. Write it. Rewrite it. Like, what the fuck are you doing to earn a different emotion? Or do you, like most people, just go, I'm not good at that. So, and I don't like doing it. So therefore I'm going to sit here again, choice. I'm going to choose to respond by just, hoping it goes well. And then you go up there shaking like a freaking, and you're like, why? Right. Well, because you didn't go through the preparedness. You didn't earn the feeling of feeling comfortable. You didn't earn the feeling of being able to let that knock it out apart, or whatever it is, whatever you'd want to do. So in too many words, I'm saying that this one point for me in this topic of fear and how to overcome fears in my life has been super beneficial.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, I think you can, like you said, you can touch that on any aspect of your life. You really can. And, it's finding the tools that are going to help you get down that path, and being prepared is the whole jam. It's the whole gig. Yeah, totally is.
I think last but not least, just kind of one random house cleaning thought on fear would be, and this kind of goes to like the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And it leans into that second myth, which is fear's a bad thing. I think fear gets a bad rap, man. I think it's just got a bad name on the street.
Sure.
And rightfully so, because it leads for most, it leads to anxiety.
Right.
It can lead to regression, depression, etc. Right. And that's a real thing. And that fucking sucks, because I truly believe it is a choice. So, I want to submit to our conversation. If somebody's struggling with something and you're fearful in a certain area, if it's not dangerous and your life's not in jeopardy, there's truly nothing to be afraid of. You can be afraid, but there's nothing to be afraid of. And that probably what you're dealing with is a conduit to a really comfortable and confident landing place on the other side. And the good fear should be leaned into. The
Agreed.
good
Agreed.
fear, I'm not going to die doing this.
Right.
What's the worst that can happen? I feel this, it doesn't work. And I feel the same way I do now, which is shitty.
Yeah.
Scared, afraid.
Yeah.
So my thing is guys, fear is real. The healthy fear, which is any fear that's going to lead to something good on the other side, as discomfortable as it is, or uncomfortable, excuse me, lean into it and go through it. That's why, we love the American buffalo, the bison, because they're the only freaking animal when there's a big ass storm that goes right into it, because they know it's going to limit their exposure to the total time in the storm. Like, it's going to hurt, but by me going through it, I got shorter exposure to it, and I'll be out the other side, good to go.
Get the other side. Mm-hmm.
And so as
100%.
you're asking yourself, how do I overcome my fear? It's going to start with some preparation with respect to building courage, but it's going to require you firstly to make the choice to lean into it, to put on the table, lean into it, listen to it, and then go find resources and medicine to do it, or to overcome it. If you're scared of losing weight or trying to lose weight and failing, you're not afraid to lose weight. You're afraid of the process and the
process
and the challenges and the potential failures and the potential judgment and the potential vulnerability and everything else. My thing is go find a resource that can help you where you cannot help yourself.
Right. 100%.
You come from poverty and you're struggling paycheck to paycheck, and you're a spender and you just can't seem to get ahead, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and you're constantly borrowing money, or you don't see a future, or you have no retirement. You're sitting here going, I have no fucking retirement. What am I going to do?
What do I do? Yeah.
What do I do? First thing you do is you put that real life fear on the table. But that's a healthy fear. You should be worried about what you're going to do but don't just bury it and pretend like it doesn't exist. That's fucking stupid. And then go out and spend
more money. Yeah.
That's stupid. Yeah. Put the fear on the table, lean into it, seek out some resources.
Find a resource.
And humble yourself, and just start the process of taking a step in there. And what's cool is each step you take in it, like your single, double, double with your double unders, what happens is through that preparedness or those repetitions, the courage gets higher and higher and higher. And then pretty soon you feel like you belong there, and then you're acting as if, and you're living it out.
You're there. Yep.
Just one fear at a time. And the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people with that is successful people lean in and do it.
Yep.
Successful people don't.
Yep. They run the other way. Yeah. So, but I think you're right, man. It's finding that resource, and the tools and and the other thing too is that I think this is a big thing, is that don't do everything at once, because a lot of times you have that failures because you think, all right, I've got 100 pounds to lose. Well, I'm going to lose it in a week. You can't. Take it one step at a time, and so, but it's that, it's find the resource, being prepared, and don't be overwhelmed with it all.
Cool. Cass, I think that's a wrap on the fear.
That's
you
it.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all 4 of you. I think we went up from 3 listeners to 4 last week. So that's a 25% increase.
Boom.
We're crushing it. We'll do this next week. Remember, you guys are stuck. I think this is episode 9 or 10, and we're committed to 1 year. So that's 52 deep. So hang on.
Yeah. Strap on. Let's go.
All right, guys. Have a good one. See you. Bye.
Peace out. See you guys.